Hello folks, welcome to Jeremy Hadler's YouTube channel. I'm your host Jeremy Hadler. In today's video, I'll be doing my annual mock draft video here in the NFL for the first round only. This will be my sixth time ever doing the annual mock draft video here, folks, where we've had some good bangers over the years. And the way I go about it and the rules of how I do it basically is no trades whatsoever in the first round. I cannot predict what the team is going to do. I can predict my team, the Packers could trade up and get Fernando Mendoza. Never going to happen. But before I start, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Appreciate everyone subbing and watching the videos to this day. So appreciate it, folks. Well, let's kick it off here. And I think this one's very obvious here. With the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. The Raiders, they need to hit on quarterback. They have not hit the great quarterback, I would say, since maybe Derek Carr back in the day. The last time the Raiders had this pick, they took a quarterback. And does anybody know who it is if you go on the most biggest NFL draft bus videos all over the world? And that is Jamarcus Russell. But what do I like about Fernando Mendoza? Well, obviously he won the Heisman and he won the national championship. Now, when it comes to winning the national championship, that's not a guarantee that you're going to pan out in the NFL, you're going to succeed. And I think Fernando Mendoza will do pretty solid in his time there. Now, the Raiders, they signed Kirk Cousins to a mega deal, which is really a one-year deal, but they're going to have him start first and Mendoza learn behind him just a little bit before throwing him to the fire and see what happens. I think that's a smart approach as we've seen with quarterbacks today. With the second overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets, Jets, select Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio State. Now, the Jets, they need defensive playmaker. They lost Quincy Williams. They also got rid of a couple guys like Quinn Williams, and they also got rid of Sauce Gardner last year. Now, they did sign Demario Davis, but who knows how long he's going to play. He's very late in his career, not going to last long. You really need a fresh breed to learn under Davis, and Reese is that guy. Now, what Reese brings to the table here is it really reminds me a lot of Micah Parsons of where you're going to play him position-wise with his speed and physicality. Now, he's pretty good in blitz. That's where Aaron Glenn's defense really upsides in, is more the blitz scheme there. Now, he will be a day one starter, most likely with the Jets. But it's really about getting that long-term star potential to see, can he explode? Can he get the job done? That's what I got for the Jets. They really need an impact playmaker on the defensive side. With the third overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle from Miami. Now, I think this is where you could go so many ways, and I think this is kind of where the domino falls. The Cardinals, they are not for sure on their pick. They could trade out, somebody trade up, or take a different position here. Now, offensive tackle, in my opinion, is the biggest need for them, but they could go so many ways because there's a lot of guys on the table here. But really, they need a right tackle. I think that's the key for them. And he did a great job at Miami. They went all the way to the national championship and lost, but he did a great job of that at playing right tackle. Now, some analysts see him as an interior guard, which that still helps him out because the Cardinals need help on the O-line very much. With the fourth overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame. In my opinion, I think he's the best prospect out there, but he's getting a lot of comparisons to Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think he will pan out. I think when you look at the tape, he panned out so well, he almost won the Heisman last year. He's done an excellent job with his elite speed, ball security, and handling that. He's a three-down ability, so he can play all three downs. Plus, he's a great playmaker with that physicality to really bulldoze. Now, the Tennessee Titans, they need a better guy than Tony Pollard. You need to have that next Derrick Henry, next King Henry to plant his flag in the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars stadiums. With the fifth overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. Now, the Giants could go multiple ways here. They've had to go through lots of overhaul this offseason by getting new head coach in Harbaugh, Dexter Lawrence requesting a trade out. With that being said, the Giants could go multiple ways here. You could also go wide receiver. For me, I think it's a better option for them to just take a pure linebacker. You get Sonny Styles, you're getting a true linebacker here who has elite speed, good tackling ability, which the Giants have been missing, and they really need a spark. They haven't been so good and for so long. So I think Sonny Styles would be a pretty good fit here for the Giants in this defense here. With the sixth overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns, yes, the mighty Cleveland Browns, select Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State. They could go so many ways here. I think you just need a weapon out there. You need something out there just for the offense to endure. But with Carnell Tate, he is somebody other than Judy, who Judy had an up and down season, and you're not getting an inconsistent guy. This guy is consistent and can be a true number one wide receiver. They really need to hit the nail on the head for this pick to work out for the Browns. So right here, I got him taking Carnell Tate. With the 7th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select David Bailey, edge rusher from Texas Tech. He really stands out to me a bit with his stats from last year. He had great production with 14.5 sacks, 19.5 tackles for loss, and a breakout season, I like to call. His play style, real quick, folks, he is a speed rusher with elite first step, and he bends with a closing burst. So once he gets close to the gap and goes right into there. Now, what he lacks is anchoring. He can't anchor against those tackles, and he relies too much on his athleticism. Now, the Commanders, they need a pass rusher. If you're able to fix that defense and get a good pass rusher out of there, like you did with Chase Young many years ago for that 1 or 2 season before he became an absolute bust for not living up to potential. This is where I think David Bailey would come in and really produce well for the Commanders. And then going right back to edge here with the 8th overall pick, I got the New Orleans Saints selecting Ruben Bain Jr., edge rusher for Miami. Now, both those guys, you can go one or the other with whoever goes for the picks here. I really think Ruben has a good chance here. I like him a little bit more than David. Now, I know David's getting more hype and everything, getting more stock up, but I really like Ruben a bit because he's a power rusher with heavy hands, and he's able to go inside out with the versatility. So wherever you spot him on the line, if going the D line or more on the outside, he's able to do that. And now he's very good at the point of attack to really get after the guys. And the run defense, he's a pretty good run stopper. And he's also able to collapse the pocket. You're getting both ways here. And the Saints, they need something like that. Yes, you had Cameron Jordan to get 10.5 sacks, but Cameron Jordan's not the same guy he once was. You need a new guy. You need a new face of the franchise here. With the 9th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs. Who knew that they would be picking a top 10 pick after having a down year and came off the dynasty that they've been living on? With that pick, they select Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. Now, the Chiefs lost a bit on the secondary. They trade Trent McDuffie, which they do have another first-round pick coming up here soon. They also lost a couple other guys on their safety and corners bit. And I think really safety might be the area here for Caleb to play in because he's a do-it-all safety here because he can play in the run. He's very versatile in the slot. He's also great in coverage. But also, where can he match up against the receivers or the tight ends? That's where he involves with his game. I really like that a lot. When you look at the AFC West, there are pretty good wide receivers in that division. And he is one of the best safeties of tackling-wise, folks, I like to say. So I think this would be a phenomenal pick here with the 10th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select Masoor Delane, CB from LSU. Now, he's a physical guy. He's pretty good in the press corner with his SEC toughness by playing LSU, and you know how great the SEC is in college football. Now, what he's really good at is jamming at the line. So he tries to kind of throw him off, like the timing for when they're supposed to catch the wide receiver or go off. Pretty good, really, at the disruption of the route. Ball skills, he does a pretty good job, and he had a pretty good couple of interceptions last year and making some pass breakups in that process. The Bengals need physical outside corners. They have been burnt so many times throughout the last couple of years. They don't have many great corners. With right here, this pick, this saves the Bengals defense a little bit. This is where I think the Bengals need to address CB a lot. If you're able to address it here with Delane, great pick here. With the 11th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Makai Lemon, wide receiver from USC. And his play style, I think this is a really good fit here for the Miami Dolphins because they need wide receivers. You trade Jalen Waddle, released Tyreek Hill. In that process, you also got rid of Tua. You have Malik Willis now as your QB, and you have A-Chain out there as well. Now, what are we talking about what his game is here, folks? He's a vertical threat with contested catchability, so he can catch those 50-50 balls you throw down the field, which Malik has a great arm, and he's good at separation on the go routes, and very good in the red zone. That is something the Dolphins will need this season if they want to get points to the board. They can't just rely on A-Chain. If he gets hurt, it goes all downhill. With the 12th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, select Jermod McCoy, CB from Tennessee. Now, his play style is a physical corner, very good in the press man, and he's very good at recovery speed. So once he gets burned just a little bit, let's say, he's able to get back there and swat the ball away. He's also good at tackling in space when it's open field, and very good at comfortable to jamming the receivers. So again, you're messing up the route. You're messing up the route time and everything. I think that would be pretty good. Plus, the Cowboys have not had great CBs due to their injuries the past couple years when you had Bland, you had Diggs. With that being said, I think that the Cowboys need to invest in CB, the secondary again, With the 13th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah. The reason I put the Rams here of taking offensive tackle is because Rob Havenstein retired. Plus, we don't know how long Stafford's going to be playing. He was very close to almost calling quits last season. He was dealing with back injuries to start last season. You want to protect your 38-year-old quarterback. He's very old. You got to protect the guy. Once you protect him, he's good, and he won the MVP last year. So you really need to protect your MVP for the short-term run here because you're eventually going to have to take a quarterback. And what I like about Spencer in his game here is he's a balanced tackler. He's very good in both the run game and the pass game too. Solid footwork, reliable hand placement where you're supposed to put your hands, and versatile on either side. So if you want to put him on the left side or right side, he's good for either way. And that's really good for me. And he's agile enough for the when you're doing zone schemes to really reach out the blocks and just stuff the guys and push them out of there. With the 14th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Vega Ione, interior offensive line from Penn State. Now, what I like about Vega here is very good run blocker, very good in the hands placement, and he has a low center of gravity for when he has to put his hands to push out and boom, make those combo blocks. Now, his pass protection, he's very good in low pad level wise, which allow him to stop the bull rushers. When you're having that Dexter Lawrence, for example, coming in, faces it right up there. He's able to keep that quarterback pocket clean. And that is what Lamar needs out there. Because we know how Lamar is with his legs. He can get out and going here. And you really need to replace your best center you lost last year. Now, he's not going to be Tyler Lindemann. We all know that. You need a solid guy. If you get the solids here, boom. I think it helps out with A, Lamar Jackson, I just mentioned before. B, it also helps out with Derrick Henry. So I think this would be a fantastic pick for the Ravens. With the 15th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Kenyon Sadiq, tight end from Oregon. Tight end wise, he's the best playmaker. He's a red zone guy. Very good in the route running. Acts like a wide receiver. Makes contested catches. Also good in the run game of blocking wise. And he's able to be kind of a gadget player. Whatever you need him to do, almost a Swiss Army knife. Now, he is going to have to replace Mike Evans' production. He's not going to fulfill what Mike Evans did in that organization. But I think this is what's going to help Baker Mayfield, when you just need another weapon out there, because who knows with Chris Godwin? He's been banged up. He's been getting hurt. I think having a tight end here really helps out the Bucks. Again, opens up their pass game a bit, helps Baker out because he's really good with tight ends. And I think having him here, combo that. You combo that a lot and it does very well. So I think this would be a great pick here for the Bucks. And back to the Jets here, folks. So pick 16 here. At the 16th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. Now, they need another playmaker out there. And Jordan, he has to be that fit. I feel like he fits like a Jet. He acts like a Jet sometimes. And because of that, I got him taken here, folks. But to talk about his game real quick. He's very vertical. He's an immediate threat. Excels in separation. Makes good contested catches. Good speed, good route running, contested ball, all the things you look for in the wide receiver. Now, the issue I do have is he's dealing with a hamstring injury he's been hurting him the past couple months. He's very polished and he's clean in that. When he's good in the route run, he can exploit those zone coverage and really go after those CBs and safeties. So I think this is a Jet move here for me. So I got him taken here. With the 17th overall pick, the Detroit Lions. Not a fan of the Lions. Just not. But with them, they select Monroe Freeland, offensive tackle from Georgia. Now, this is where you have to consider for the Detroit Lions after what happened last year with them. Their line took a bang. It was not great. Just injuries kept happening with him. Now you have Sanu. Penei Sewell is one of the best offensive tackles. Now there is conversation where Dan Campbell might move him from going from the right side to the other side of left tackle, where he'd be your blind side. Now talk about his game real quick. He's solid in both the in and out zone coverage, and also is great in the blocking. The blocking is really like about him because of his hand placement, which he stops when the bull rushers are coming out like a Micah Parsons, who he's going to deal with next year. It's just, can they fix that O-line? That's what's been bad about. I mean, yes, there's other issues, but mostly the O-line, I like to say, is the number one issue I have on that offense. With the 18th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Dylan Thyman, safety from Oregon. Now, his play style, which he's one of the best safeties in this draft, is he's very versatile in playing the deep box, in the box, nickel coverage. You can play him all over. He has very good instincts and good ball skills. And what he excels really good in is zone coverage. If he's able to play in zone coverage a bit more and match the man concepts, he would do pretty well. The Vikings, they need help in that defense. A safety would be the area here because, again, we don't know what's going to happen with Harris Smith. You need a new guy out there. Now, Brian Flores, of how he's done a great job with that Vikings defense over the years, he could play Dylan anywhere, and that's scary to see as a Packers fan. So I really like this pick here for the Vikings. Hopefully, it does not go over the Vikings as a Packer fan, but he probably will be very good if he gets picked by the Vikings. I'm just going to say that. With the 19th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety from Toledo. Now, he's a very physical downhill safety, and he's very good in the run support and stopping the run. And he's more of a hybrid box type safety, if you get me right here, folks, because he's like, obviously, you see, like with the safeties, like free safeties, more out in the open to coverage, but he's more of like the Nick gritty guy to like run up the middle of the pocket and stop the run and make a tackle out here. And ball production is a big part of his game when he's forcing the fumbles, making the tackles behind the line. That is what the Panthers need, in my opinion, to build off that defense. And then to kick it back, we're right back with the 20th pick with the Dallas Cowboys on the clock here, folks. Coming from the Green Bay Packers, my team, who got Micah Parsons out of this, so I will thank Jerry Jones once again. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. With the 20th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select edge rusher Keldrick Falk from Auburn. Now, is he a Micah Parsons? No, he is not. But what I can tell you about him, folks, is he's pretty good against the run. He's very good in his power to kind of like what the Cowboys prefers, that power length guy. He matches what you would see in that Cowboys defense. He really dominates tackles physically, which again is something you need, that nitty gritty guy to really go at it. So I think Falk can learn. I think he has potential to be a solid guy. Maybe a Micah Parsons 1B, 1C guy. If they're able to get that, it works out very well for them. Hopefully, maybe it solves their edge rusher issues. I don't know, but maybe it does here, folks. With the 21st overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Caden Proctor, offensive tackle from Alabama. I really love that name because there's so many jokes you can make with that, but that's a great name there, folks. The Steelers, they need O-line help. We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. We really don't. I think with Proctor, the O-line is really uncertain out here. It's really uncertain because Broderick Jones keeps getting hurt. He's had to go through so many injuries, surgeries, recovery time. It's been a fiasco with that. And they really just need help on that O-line. And I think left tackle would be a good position here, which is what I like about Proctor, because he's very good in run blocking power and anchors the strength. So really, he can push guys out of there and create holes for the running backs in that backfield there. So that being said, A, you have to open up the run game. B, whoever the quarterback is, if it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, you got to protect your old man QB. So I think that's a good move for the Steelers to go after here, folks. With the 22nd overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Peter Woods, defensive lineman, Clemson. I think one of the big issues that I had with them was the D-line. That was a big issue. I mean, now, edge, you did have good moves there, but I think stopping the run was a big need for the Chargers last year. That's number one. Number two, yes, you do need more weapons. You need more O-line help out there for the Chargers. Now, I could see him go offensive line here. I wouldn't be shocked here. But I think you have to prioritize a bit more of that D-line. If you can prioritize that D-line a little bit more, I think you can get offensive tackles later on in the sport here, what I have for the Chargers. Talk about his game real quick. Very good in disruptive hand work here. So he's able to push guys out, able to like kind of create a little bit chaos out there, generating both pressure in the run game and the pass game as well, folks. And he can fill the AB gaps and hold the ground against double teams. This really helps out the Chargers defense a lot and gets it better for them. So that's who I have there. So I think D-line, in my opinion, I would say is probably the bigger need of like addressing the first round compared to like getting it down the road. So that's my opinion there. With the 23rd overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Yeah, I know I'm from the area, folks. Select Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle from Utah. O-line has to be the most important thing, and that's how the Eagles' offense succeeds in, is really of how well the O-line is. Talk about Caleb's game real quick. He's in the early stages of his development. This is more a project guy. Now, he's better in the pass protection, the run, which is something you don't want for the Eagles, in my opinion, if I was an Eagles fan, because the run game is what's won you the ball game so many years. But I think pass protection has to be important because we saw how messed up that pass game has been for the last couple years. Been up, hot, down. We've seen what AJ Brown wants out. We don't know again if he's going to stay or not. Maybe like a project player and learn under. Put him in, see what happens. I think it'd be a pretty good pick here for the Eagles. Now, he's very good balance, very good foot quickness, and very good at landing those quick, well-timed punches to kind of like boom, stop him. So in my opinion, I think the Eagles have to address O-line here. I think that's a priority here. So I got the Eagles taking Caleb Lomu here at the 23rd pick for the Eagles. With the 24th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns, who are back on the board again, they already took wide receiver before, Connor Tate, select Blake Miller, offensive tackle from Clemson. Now, again, the Browns are going unsignificant turnover here in the O-line. They've had so many changes here and there, and they really need an offensive tackle, in my opinion, because you need to protect your quarterback. And Blake Miller does provide that by being ready. He's ready to make the impact. He doesn't need to be more polished, like I mentioned about Caleb, who's more of a developmental guy. Blake is ready to go in the trenches and fight right on the bat here. Now, Miller is pretty good if his balanced footwork, very disciplined guy, very good at matchups. So whatever matchup you're going to put him in, he's done a solid job. Now, if you're going to throw him against, let's say, I'll put Trey Hendrickson on there. Okay, then that's a different story there for that. But when you're starting up against rotational guys like second, 2, 3 defensive pass rushers, he can fight it out there on the field there. And Cleveland, they need something out there. They really just need help. Help them out, is what I'll say for Cleveland here. So I got Blake Miller going here for Cleveland. Hopefully he becomes maybe a Joe Thomas. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe we get another Joe Thomas here, folks. For Cleveland fans' sake here, they have had terrible luck in the past. Who knows how long it's been terrible for them. With the 25th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears, you beat us fair and square. We don't talk about it anymore. We don't talk about it. We go move on to the next season here, folks. Select Akeem Mesidor, edge rusher from Miami. The Bears, they really need pass rush out there. I mean, Montez Sweat, it was good to start it out when he came from the Commanders, but they really have had lacked that pass rush for the past couple of years. I think that has to be a big issue for them to address with Ryan Poles this year. And talk about Akeem's game real quick. He's very good at the burst off the line, very good to win one-on-one battles here with his power and quickness, and he can collapse the pocket. He can be used outside the Y in the edge rush. That is something the Bears did lack when their defense came. I mean, yes, you had so many times where they're down by 20 and they make the miraculous win with Caleb Williams. It happened a lot. We all know. It happened to my team, of course. Pass rush, I think, to address that here. So I got the Bears taking Akeem here, folks. With the 26th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills Mafia, select TJ Parker, edge rusher from Clemson. Now, the Bills, they need an edge rusher. They haven't had a great guy, but you need help out there. You really need an early young pass rusher to develop here. And I think with Parker, he is a high floor defender who has pretty good upside, in my opinion, that can be a day one start and make immediate impact to collapse the pocket and generate pressure. Now, to give you stats real quick, he generated 21 and a half career sacks in his time at Clemson, also forced multiple turnovers here. So you need a playmaker out there in that pass rush game. If you're able to do that, the Bills defense does help out a little bit. Plus, they need that against quarterbacks like Drake May, who's not that much of a runner, but he did run last year. Malik Willis. The Bills need a pass rush playmaker out here, and he does help out the Bills a little bit more. So I got the Bills taking him here. With the 27th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Cassius Howell, edge rusher from Texas A&M. Now, for many years, the 49ers have had Nick Bosa, who's done pretty good, but he's been banged up a little bit. Hasn't been the same he once was, in my opinion. But you need another guy to maybe be I'm not going to say the replacement of Nick Bosa, but could be. But the opposite side, you need a partner out there for Nick Bosa. And I think Howell would do pretty well because he generates constant interior pressure, quick bursts, able to beat the tackles, and he's pretty good in the coverage, and he has very good athleticism, so it'll allow him to do occasional drops or zone blitz and give good looks. I think having him out there really opens it up for the 49ers in their defense. Despite all the injuries last year, I think that's something they really lacked with pass rushes. They don't really have anybody outside Nick Bosa to generate that pressure. So I think that has to be addressed, in my opinion, here. And with the 28th overall pick, the 2026 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Caden McDonald, defensive lineman from Ohio State. Sounds like a Texan to me already. He's about that swarm mentality, folks, because he's an elite run stuffer, eats up the space so much that he can't be double teamed as much, and stops the double teams when it does happen to him. He's more of a powerful bull rush. Very good technique for his size, and he stacks on the blockers, stacks them like pancakes, and swarms them to eat them down, folks. Now the Texans, they've had a great defense with DeMeco Ryans the past couple years. But one thing I will say that they did lack is more defensive line of younger guys. I think having a younger defensive lineman inside, I think really helps him out because A, he can generate pressure, stop the run, plus it helps out Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson to just have more room to attack. I got the Texans taking him here, folks. And then back on the board here with the Kansas City Chiefs at the 29th overall pick, select Colton Hood, CB from Tennessee. Now, yes, I mentioned before with taking Caleb Downs earlier that they did lose a lot of secondary and CB help. Why not add more? I think this could be great. Now, yes, there's wide receivers that are on the board here you didn't see take, and that is a need for the Chiefs. But in my opinion, I think you just need to address that CB secondary room altogether out here. And with Colton here, this fits as an outside corner. You're replacing Jalen Watson, you replace Trey McDuffie in this pick here. But what I like about Hood's game is he's very good in the physical press coverage, throw guys off their timing here, and he mirrors receivers well, so he's able to follow them. Like you go this way, I go this way, this way, this way, this way. Da, 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 da. He's able to follow them pretty good here, folks. I think this would be honestly a good pick here. I think it's a pretty good pick here for the Chiefs, in my opinion here. So I got him taking Colton Hood here. And back on the board here, we got the Miami Dolphins out here. Now we're going defense here, folks. Miami Dolphins, the 30th overall pick, select Zion Young, edge rush from Missouri, Mizzou. Now, he's a physical guy against both the run and the pass. He's pretty good size and length for like an edge player. He does not stop. He fights it all the way. Even if he's battling with like a cramp or something, he fights it all the way out. Very versatile too, of like whatever scheme coverage you want to put him in the defensive front. I think this would be pretty good. Plus, the Dolphins' defense is not very good, and they need something out there for life to help them out, whether that might be an edge rusher. And I think having a pass rusher here does very well for the Dolphins to set something up with the 31st overall pick, the 2026 NFL Draft. The New England Patriots, who now win the Super Bowl, thank you, select Max Ahin-Akur. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Offensive tackle from Arizona State. Now, we saw what happened in the Super Bowl, of course. It did not go well for the Patriots. That O-line just didn't have it with them. Will Campbell, who was their first-round pick, got obliterated. Now, I'm not going to call him a bust or whatever. Max is great in the strength in the pass protection and run blocking too, and he's able to stop the pass rush by mirroring against them, and he's solid on the in-zone outside runs, and that's something I think the Patriots did pretty good last year. So in my opinion, I think Patriots, they need to focus on the offense a little bit more. Now, yes, of course, you're in the talks about trying to go after A.J. Brown, even though you signed Romeo Doubs. But I think having a playmaker more as setting themselves up, like kind of a point guard to like throw to the floor in the basketball game, I think that's what the Patriots need on the offensive line. Having another guy that can pretty good blocker than just having to rely so much on Will Campbell, I think it helps them out a lot. So I got the Patriots taking him here. And then to round out here, folks, with my mock draft, the 32th pick, the Super Bowl champions, congrats again, Seattle Seahawks, select Avion Terrell, CB from Clemson. Now, he's the brother of A.J. Terrell from the Atlanta Falcons, who's a pretty good baller. What I like about him is he's very fluid in coverage. He's got good hip fluidity of like transitioning of like when to move side to side, and he's both effective in the man and zone coverage. Very good in creating the turnovers here, especially the fumbles. I think you need to address CB here because you need to match Witherspoon, who got a big contract extension and everything. They need to put something the opposite of him to be a potential CB2 or a solid CB out there. This would help the Seahawks a bit more to still not only think of like having like you go from the Super Bowl to being a very terrible secondary. That was a big part of why their team was so good is the secondary last year. Having that revamped once again, I think that fixed a lot of issues for the Seahawks and still puts them as great contenders for next year. That'll do here, folks. I appreciate everyone tuning in as we've gone through 1 through 32 of my mock picks here. Let me know what you think here. Do you think I'm too high on some guys? Do you think I was completely wrong about some I get every year? Or was I right? And that concludes, again, the annual mock draft video here, folks, of my 6th one here. And be sure to stay tuned because on Draft Night 1, I'll be live streaming the NFL Draft here on my channel. Draft number night 2, I'll be also live streaming on my podcast, Pack Reacts, and their YouTube channel. So stay tuned for both. Have fun. The draft, it's always fun to see who's a boom, bust, or a hit.